For our first story, 13 candidates have qualified to contest the 2024 presidential elections. A statement from the Electoral Commission brought this news to light. And according to the statements from the Electoral Commission, these are the names that have been put out. We have Mahmoud Baumia from the New Patriotic Party, John Dramani Mahama from the National Democratic Congress, Alan John Kojo Chermanteng, an independent candidate from the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, Christian Kwabena Andrews, and he is from the Ghana Union Movement, Daniel Augustus Latte Jr. from the Great Consolidated Popular Party, George Chumbarima Aidoo from he's an independent candidate, as well as Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly known as Cheddar, also an independent candidate, Ekia Donko, popularly, very popular in this country, from the Ghana Freedom Party, Hassan Abdullahi Ayariga from the All People's Congress, Kofi Akpalu from the Liberal Party of Ghana, Mohamed Frimpong from the National Democratic Party, not Congress, that's the difference, and Nana Kosia Frimpoma from the Convention People's Party, and finally, Kofi Koranteng from he's also an independent candidate, and the statement is signed by Samuel Tete, he's Deputy Chairman of the Electoral Commission in charge of operations. These are the 13 people who have qualified to contest the 2024 December 7 presidential elections. Moving on, workers of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company are accusing government of having an ulterior motive on the measure sent to Parliament, a reason critical stakeholders were not consulted before presenting the draft bill to Parliament. Government has sent a draft bill to Parliament on the NEDCO ECG measures, but the workers say it's not in the interest of the country. Let's speak to Martina Bugri from Tamale, and then Rafiq Salam, who also joins us from WA. But first, let me start with Martina Bugri. Martina, what are the people saying? Let me speak to Rafiq Salam now. And Rafiq, so we understand that the workers have some concerns. What are they saying? We're trying to get you details and updates on why workers of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company are accusing government of having an ulterior motive on the measure sent to Parliament. Rafiq Salam joins us from WA. Rafiq, what are the workers saying their concerns really are?
The workers are saying that the measure between the NEDCO and also the ECG will not inure to the benefit of Ghanaians and also they as workers. And so at a meeting this morning by the union of the NEDCO in the Upper West region, the representatives or their leaders rolled out the proposed bill and telling them what it entails on that bill. And according to them, they are saying that for now, a kilowatt an hour costs 19 Ghanaian cedis, and that is what the VRA NEDCO is selling to the Ghanaian public. But when they are saying that when they sell these things to the ECG, when they sell it to, when it's sold to the private companies, it's about 40 kilowatt per hour. And so they are saying that at least to reduce, it will increase the cost of electricity in the country. And also, they're also stating that regarding this issue of measure, they don't know our staff where they belong, whether they will be picked as new workers, or also there will also be people who will start what the new company that government is trying to form. And so they are saying that they are not going to accept this proposed measure. They will fight it tooth and nail and ensure that government rescinds this decision.
Thank you so much, Rafiq Salam, bringing us details on the concerns raised by workers of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company and ECG. But Martina Bugri also joins us from Tamale. Martina, what stands out from the meeting that the workers of NEDCO had in Tamale this morning?
So for the workers of NEDCO, they are rallying Ghanaians to back them in this fight to get government to rescind their decision on this measure. They believe that it is in the interest of Ghanaians because as of now, they sell power at a cheaper price than the private independent power producers. And so if this measure goes on, there is the possibility, or they believe 100% that the private person who would end up buying it would increase to the 45 pesos that is being sold. And that is not only going to affect NEDCO workers, but the entire Ghanaian population. So they are rallying Ghanaians to help in the fight to get this issue resolved.
Martina, what was the ask at the end of the meeting that was had this morning?
So they are saying that they have petitioned the government. They are waiting for a response. But until that response comes, they will not disclose their next line of action. But they obviously have planned something, waiting to receive their response.
Martina Bugri there, bringing us updates from Tamale. Martina, thank you so much for joining us. Now, moving on, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin says Ghana's 1992 constitution cannot guarantee development. Delivering the inaugural lecture at the 2024 University of Ghana Alumni Lecture, the speaker said the current makeup of the constitution has in the past 32 years failed to address the country's quest for development, calling for an urgent review. There's more in this report.
The 2024 University of Ghana Alumni Lecture, organized on the theme 30 Years of Parliamentary Democracy, the Journey Thus Far, sought to explore the resilience of Ghana's legislature since 1992. Delivering the inaugural lecture, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin first seized the opportunity to emphasize the achievement of Parliament over the period.
For the last 32 years, our country has maintained a stable democratic system with peaceful transfers of parliament. This has produced for our country a stable political system.
He, however, bemoaned the slow pace of Ghana's development, blaming the phenomenon largely on the makeup of the country's constitution.
I venture to submit that the focus of the first brains behind the drafting of this constitution was to achieve political stability. If my guess is right, I must admit we have succeeded in doing just that at the expense of development. We now have to move on to focus on development. I don't need to call on you. That is very urgent for us to take up the constitutional transformation. I agree with Ghanaians who say that there's nothing to reform. We have to transform everything. This constitution has many defects, and the time to fix those defects has been long overdue.
The speaker did not also shy away from criticizing his own MPs for their over-partisanship, which he said could lead to chaos if not checked.
This is the classic dichotomy between the member of parliament as a representative of the people or that of a party or president.
Well, Alban Bagbin seems to have the support of Professor Michael Aidoo, an applied economist at the West African Center for Sustainable Rural Transformation of the University for Development Studies, and he spoke earlier on News Desk.
Our constitution has held us hostage to a large degree, starting with first the requirement for the president to select ministers from parliament, and it means that if the competent hands are not in parliament, then the president is still forced to go along that line. So that is one of the first thing I think would have to take a second look at. I also believe that our election system has made the ruling or the leading class extremely vulnerable to political pressure at the grassroots, and that has allowed for this winner-take-all thing, and then if you share it among those who supported you to win, they end up misappropriating resources and not delivering development. So there are a whole number of issues that I think first the executive is extremely strong, able to appoint from electoral commissioner to chief justice. We want to have a system, especially for electoral commissioner. I want to see a system where it is selected by concerned stakeholders and its independence more entrenched.
Meanwhile, and still on the subject matter of the 1992 Constitution, former Supreme Court Judge Justice Jones Doche is asking for an amendment of the Constitution to change the requirement to appoint majority of ministers from Parliament. He says either all ministers must come from Parliament or none. He was speaking at a meeting on the stakeholders' consultation on the review of the Constitution organized by the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. And our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, was at this meeting and is at the meeting at the moment and joins us now. Kweku, so we've heard the Speaker of Parliament backed by Professor Michael Aidoo, and now we are listening to Mr. Doche, who wants a review of the Constitution. What exactly is he asking for?
Well, yes, we know that currently the Constitution says majority of ministers must be appointed for Parliament. Justice Jones Doche, who just retired from the Supreme Court, says that arrangement is not workable, and that Ghana must get to the point where it decides if it wants all its MPs to come from Parliament or none of them should come from Parliament. In fact, in the last few minutes, we've been hearing from the Constitutional Review Consultative Committee that has been saying that it is their recommendation that any MP that will be appointed as a minister or into any executive position should resign. And that is the view that the former Supreme Court judge, it appears, still towards.
Kweku, there have been suggestions that the constitutional review process be halted after the election. Minister for Parliamentary Affairs has been responding.
Well, yes, we know that it's just about 3 months to the 2024 election. Others have said concerns that this government may not have legitimacy to, carry out broad reforms to the Constitution, and so they should wait for the next government. Long implementation. It's been years since that Atama's Constitutional Review Committee presented its report. It has not been fully.
Well, thank you so much, Kweku Asante. Apologies for that bad quality of sound, and we'll try to reconnect or bring your reports on the fallout from that meeting. But moving on, a research scientist at the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, Dr. Stella Agyemangua, has bemoaned the effect of illegal mining on food production. She's worried the pollution of water bodies leaves no healthy source of water for farmers to water their crops with, forcing farmers to buy water at high prices to water crops. Dr. Agyemangua also says most farms now have fewer people working on them because most young people have resorted to illegal mining as a source of income. More in this report.
Illegal mining has been on the hot burner for a while now, with many asking government to forcibly end the menace and punish anyone found culpable of the act. Popularly called galamsey, this menace has had dire consequences for the country. From water bodies being polluted to farmlands being lost, stakeholders in the food chain are worried for Ghana's food security. Speaking to journalists after a tour of a farm, Dr. Stella Agyemangua, a research scientist with the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, said illegal mining has polluted the Densu and Brim rivers, main sources of water, to her farm.
I have about 100 acres of maize currently on the field, and I have about 10 acres of vegetable farms where I cultivate cabbage, garden eggs, pepper, and tomatoes. And I have extra 25 acres that I'm working on to cultivate maize. My problem in the area right now is that I have issues with the illegal miners, the galamsey. Whatever that I'm cultivating in this area, I depend on the Denso River and the Brim River. Currently, the Denso River that I use in farming has been polluted heavily. The water is very brown. I can't use the water to cultivate my produce.
Dr. Ajemaidua also says most farms now have fewer people working on them because most young women and men have resorted to illegal mining as a source of income.
I don't have labor to work with. All the guys who come day to day, even though labor is not cheap, but all the guys who come day to day to help me and I pay them on daily basis, they are all left to the Galamsey site. I have no labor.
She's more worried that as fertile lands are being turned into barren, polluted areas, the ability to grow essential crops diminishes, leading to potential food shortages and increased food prices.
Food security issues in Ghana, we are still struggling to be able to achieve that zero hunger according to World Food Organization. The problem that I foresee is that looking at our current climate change issues, it's not raining, and the water that we depend on has been polluted. It means we can't cultivate. We can't do anything. And once we don't have constant supply of food on the market, the little that we have, we are going to, the price is going to increase.
In other stories, President of the National Inland Canoe Fishermen Council, Jacob Kabori Tete Ageke, is worried about how the inland fisheries sector is being threatened by illegal mining activities, warning of imminent fish stock declines. He says fisherfolk on the Black Volta in the Savannah region are chased away by illegal miners to allow them to mine on the water body. The situation, he says, is denying the fishers their daily source of livelihood. He was speaking on the sidelines of a stakeholders meeting in Kumasi on reviewing the new Fisheries Act.
For quite some time, fish farming, the bulk of fish farming was taking place in the Volta Lake area. That was tilapia. In recent years, the last few years, catfish farming has become very prominent, especially in parts of the Ashanti region, like the Amansie East. Catfish is showing great promise. Unfortunately, this is the very area where illegal mining is taking place. And some of the farms, the farmers come and they half baiting you, half threatening you. Get off. They offer very attractive inducements. They offer a very attractive amounts of money for you to leave your farm and let them come and do the calamity. And if you don't do it, they threaten you. And unfortunately, too, some of the farms are located very close to the illegal mines, and they threaten the survival. So from a fish farmer's point of view, this must be checked. This must urgently be checked.
Meanwhile, in the Ashanti region, aquaculture farmers in the Amensie East District are bemoaning the activities of illegal small-scale mining. National organizer of the Ghana National Aquaculture Association, Francis Dihie, says catfish farmers in the area are threatened by the miners to evacuate their sites for their illegal activities.
The catches have reduced, and even some of the illegal miners are using weapons to make sure that our people even move out from their communities. Sometimes even the fishing grounds, and when we land or around the Black Volta, the places where they mined, on the Savannah, that is the Banda side and the Savannah areas, on the Black Volta, they actually use weapons to even make sure that our people who live in the communities leave the area for them to mine. The fish that will grow for us to catch, they died 6 months ago, a year ago. So the resources is reducing, and so the illegal mining is affecting us greatly. It's because the lake is vast. You are not seeing the stability of the water. Seriously, on the Black Volta, all the way from Savannah region, especially on the Bui Lake, and then to the dam site, and then from the dam site, a place called Bolekame, all the way to Bamboy, or to Bupe. The illegal money very seriously there. The water it has changed. Even if you go to Yeji, you see that the stability of the water that you see before is not the same. And then from the eastern region, all the water bodies enters into the farm and entered into the water lake. So our appeal is that we are not saying that Ghanaians should not mind, but they shouldn't mine close to river bodies.
Residents of Aobi, a farming community near Wenchi in the Bono Region, are asking the Middle Belt Development Authority to facilitate the quick completion of a toilet facility for the community. They are worried that the project has halted for 7 years now, forcing some of them to resort to open defecation. There's more in this Nesta Kafuya Jomes report.
Aobi is one of the densely populated communities within the Wenchi municipality, but they lack a decent public place of convenience. This makeshift structure serves as the toilet facility for the community members. However, construction of the
We will bring you the full story in our subsequent bulletin. But away from that, outgoing Asanta Regional Health Director had the desire of seeing the completion and operationalization of the regional hospital at Sewa and the military hospital at Afari. This could not materialize, but Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran says he will work behind the scenes to ensure the two facilities are operationalized. He is retiring from the Ghana Health Service after 33 years of meritorious service, credited with improved healthcare, infrastructure and service delivery in the Ashanti region. Oheming Tewia of our health desk reports.
Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran, a senior public health expert, is a graduate of Ghana's premier university, the University of Ghana. He rose through the rank and file of the health services from a young doctor to medical superintendent of the Nsawam Hospital and as regional health director of health services for Bono, Ahafo, Eastern, Western and Ashanti regions. His tenure as head of health services in the Ashanti region brought to bear expert management of COVID-19 when public apathy and lack of education were so high. Through the introduction of weekly media briefings, the Ghana Health Services interacted with the media in a public education drive that erased all misconceptions about the outbreak. His tenure also saw the completion of several district hospitals, including those at Ahafo North at Tepa, Asante Achim Central in Konongo, Adanse North and Sechire Kumawu district hospitals in Fomena and Kumawu respectively. Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje is Director General of the Ghana Health Services. He says the service will mix the expertise of Dr. Tinkran.
We have seen the trailblazer he has left behind for the service for others to emulate and learn. We've always asked him to do some of the most difficult jobs. He went to Western region when the place was virtually in turmoil. And for the years that he was there, things became stable. Ashanti region is one of the most delicate regions for the health sector. When Ashanti region coughs, all our indicators collapse. And so we are very careful in selecting people to come to the region. We have seen what he has done. 7 years without controversy in Ashanti region is something we must really strive for. During the COVID, we saw the team that he led to deliver excellent service. That earned him an award and a member of the Order of the Volta. And we've seen the changes that has taken place, the growth of the region, the number of facilities that has cropped up, and most importantly, the place has become very attractive for every staff who want to work in Ashanti region.
The scent of ceremony saw industry players, professionals and traditional leaders from across the country in attendance. But an elated Dr. Tinkran has an unfulfilled dream.
I think I've taken the region to a very high level. As you all know, the healthcare delivery in Ashanti region has seen much more improvement. The way we manage the COVID, the hospitals that came up during my tenure, you know Tepa, you know Konongo, you know Fomena, at least you know Bekwai, you know Kumawu, and you to open Sewua Regional Hospital. But I'll still work behind the scenes to make sure that that facility is completed, because that is my pride. I've worked over that for so many years, for the past 7 years.
Meanwhile, Dr. Tinkran is succeeded by Dr. Fred Adomako Boateng, who until now was in charge of health services in the Bono East region. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oime reporting.
Now, the Ghana Sociological and Anthropology Association, that is GSAA, has warned that corruption in public places is eroding public trust and confidence in the country's governance system. At the 8th Sociological and Anthropological Conference in Kumasi, the GSAA expressed deep concern over widespread corruption in various state institutions, including the judiciary, law enforcement agencies, and public service departments. There's more in this report.
According to the Ghana Sociological and Anthropology Association, corruption in state institutions has become a major obstacle to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which Ghana has committed to achieving by 2030. Addressing the 8th conference of the association, guest speaker Professor Kofi Osei Akuakun indicated the numerous cases of bribery, embezzlement and nepotism in public institutions undermine public confidence.
Corruption in institutions undermining poverty alleviation, health and education, that is SDGs 1, 3 and 4. Government ministries, departments and agencies are crucial to implementing policies that can address poverty, that is SDG 1, hunger 2, health and well-being 3. However, corruption in these institutions has crippled the ability to deliver on these mandates. The Ministry of Health, for instance, has been plagued with numerous scandals involving procurement irregularities, inflated contracts, and misuse of funds. This not only diverted resources away from life-saving healthcare services, but also undermined public trust in government efforts to combat the pandemic. So medicines, for example, medicines left uncleared at ports and other things. Similarly, in the Ministry of Education, corruption has manifested in the misuse of funds meant for the free senior high school initiative. Contracts for the supply of educational materials have been awarded under questionable circumstances, often leading to inflated costs and poor quality supplies. This directly impacts the quality of education, that's SDG 4, and further entrenches inequality as the most disadvantaged students suffer the most.
Prof. Akuakun observed the institutions of states charged to deal with issues of corruption are under-resourced. He called for bold steps to tackle corruption.
Institutions established to combat corruption, such as Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which for me, I don't even know the difference between it and the Ombudsman, and the creation, I don't know, maybe they will tell me, have not been immune to allegations of corruption or lack of efficacy due to political interference. This weakens the national fight against corruption and hampers efforts to build transparent, accountable institutions.
President of the GSAA, William Boateng, added that measures must be put in place to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Sustainable Development Goals, also known as global goals, these are goals that universally they have been put on the ground, that all countries are expected to work towards attainment of these goals. And as sociologists and anthropologists and of course social workers, we deem it important that we interrogate what is happening with regards to what we are doing as a country to attain these laudable sustainable development goals.
The 8th conference of the association was under the theme Sociological and Anthropological Discourse on Sustainable Development Goals. For Joy News, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
Good afternoon and welcome to the business segment on Joy News Today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Managing Director of Republic Bank Ghana, Benjamin Jogoku, has attributed its strong financial posture in 2023 to its ability to manage its non-performing loans while growing deposits by almost 1.9 billion cedis. The bank also touts its impressive performance to its decision to solidify its position as the leading bank in mortgages. Speaking to Joy Business at the bank's 33rd annual general meeting, Mr. Jogoku noted that as part of its expansion plan, it will develop competitive schemes to support micro, small and medium-scale enterprises.
If you look at 2022, we made loss because of the DDEP. But 2023, we posted a huge profit, 145 million, against a loss of 66 million last year. And this is basically because of the level of growth in our deposit. We grew our deposit about 1.9 billion. So you see a growth of about 1.8 billion in the total assets. And as the industry non-performing loan was about 20.6, we did about 15.9, which means that we are below the industry in terms of non-performing loan. So you see that because we're able to manage our non-performing loan, our net interest income was very healthy. Net interest income margin was about 9% as against last year. So it's basically the focus, as I indicated last year, that we've gone back to base, where we are looking at our mortgage. Now we are the leading mortgage provider in the country, and we are also targeting the SME and corporate business as well. Republic Bank has been in existence over 187 years, so they have the capability which we are leveraging on that expertise to grow the SME business. And for the next 5 years, the strategy is the SME. You know, that is the backbone of the economy. But all the financial institutions, they've neglected that space. But because of the experience that we have in Republic Financial Holding, I believe that we are bringing that expertise to the Ghanaian market. If you look at the credit card, we have taken that space because of the experience, and we'll do the same thing the next 5 years in the SME side of the economy.
Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, Stephen Blewett, has stated his outfit's resolve to invest in the development of human capital in Ghana. Speaking at a ceremony which awarded scholarships to 200 students, among which are 20 persons with disability, he noted that the company will continue to impact lives through its corporate social responsibility projects.
In all, about 200 students received scholarship packages through MTN Ghana Foundation's Bright Scholarship Initiative. Among the recipients are 20 persons with disabilities. The MTN Bright Scholarship Program seeks to ease the financial burden on students by covering the cost of tuition, accommodation, and providing a stipend for each semester, as well as a laptop. Speaking to Joy Business, Stephen Blewett, Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, noted that the company will continue to invest in human capital development.
There's a huge need within Ghana for education, and there's some really bright minds. And often at conferences I talk about that I believe that the next, and I truly believe this, that the next greatest idea and the next greatest technology can come from Ghana. But to do that, people have to be educated, and sometimes people don't have access to finances to do that. So the more we can do, the more we will do, and that's why we increased it.
He emphasized MTN's aim of touching lives through its corporate social responsibility initiatives, particularly the MTN Bright Scholarship Program.
We have within MTN scholarship students from the past, who are actually working within MTN. I only discovered that the other day. For me, it's exciting when you see someone who's in our office at a senior level who is now a previous beneficiary of this, and that's amazing as well, you know. And there are beneficiaries of this program in many, many industries throughout Ghana. So we're touching lives.
Some of the beneficiaries share their experience with Joy Business.
I'm very, very, very happy to be chosen upon the people that has qualified for the scholarship. I'm very glad. I believe this is going to help me to improve upon my studies in the law school. And God bless MTN for such an opportunity given to us.
I thankfully had a chance to enter the medical school, and then I'm a fee-paying student, and then the fees are too much. So looking at this scholarship is going to relieve my parents of the burden of taking care of my fees, and also with the problem of accommodation. Accommodation is also one expensive thing. So it's also going to help me stay focused and learn without worrying about where I'll sleep.
Launched in 2018, the MTN Bright Scholarship Initiative provides financial assistance to needy students in public tertiary institutions.
For now, I am Pius Kojo Baka. Sports is next.